The field for South Carolina's 2026 governor's race is taking shape. Democrat Jermaine Johnson today announcing Charleston area business leader Sam Scardone as his choice for lieutenant governor. Our Stephen Biddix explains what sets Scardone apart and why Johnson says he's the right fit for the campaign.
There was a palpable energy at the announcement as Jermaine Johnson and his pick for lieutenant governor, Sam Scardone, walked down the south side of the State House steps here behind me to Don't Stop Believin' by Journey, a tribute to their campaign and a message to South Carolinians that they're bringing a new South Carolina to the state.
I believe we can win in November, and we can build a new South Carolina together.
After months of anticipation and speculation, Democratic gubernatorial nominee Jermaine Johnson has selected Charleston area businessman and nonprofit lender Sam Scardone as his running mate.
He has never wavered from doing what's right. He has never wavered from doing the hard work, not just talking about it, but actually doing the work.
I've got a young family in Charleston. I think that speaks for a lot of young working families when I say we're sick and tired of hearing reasons why the state can't help, why the state can't do something.
If elected, Johnson says Scardone will focus on small businesses and underserved communities.
It'd be an honor to help Jermaine build an economy that works for all of us. The South Carolina economy is two-tiered right now, and we need to give people a realistic path to upward mobility. I would love to help take that on and under his leadership and part of a new South Carolina.
On the Republican ticket, State Senator Mike Rickenbaugh, Attorney General Alan Wilson's running mate, would lead the Family First Audit Initiative if elected. The initiative would track how the state spends taxpayer dollars with the goal of making life more affordable for South Carolinians.
What our initiative is going to use is technology, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, to track dollars, to make sure the dollars are ending up where they need to be and that we're spending appropriately.
With the two main party tickets now set, campaigns will spend the next couple months trying to earn your votes in the November election. Reporting at the State House, I'm Stephen Biddix.